Hello, everybody. It is Andy Smith, your 34-year veteran of the comic book industry, with your book look for the week. This one is a little different because two things. One, I take requests, and somebody made a comment on one of my previous book looks saying, could you do a book look on the crash course that Greg Capullo did? It says and TODD MCFARLANE from the Wizard magazine. So that's different because, guys, I'll take a request. If you say, do you have this book? And if you do, could you do it as a book look? I will. Second, this isn't a book. It's bound like one, but it's basically just copies from Wizard magazine of all the Greg Capullo tutorials that he did. I believe Greg took over after Bart left. Bart Sears, of course, started the tutorials in the books, and then Greg took over, and then after that it was a bunch of different artists, which Wizard finally compiled into a book, which I did do a book look on. So search through the catalog of book looks and you'll find it. So let's dive through this. You want to draw comics like Greg Capullo? Well, let's go through his crash course. Part one, the head. Of course, you got to start somewhere. Eyeballs aren't round. I mean, okay, for comic book purposes, just draw it round. Who cares? But look, straight on, there's the iris. 3/4 view, it sets back a little. And on the side view, the iris actually doesn't touch the edge of the, I guess, pupil or whatever. It sits back some. So there you go. Keep that in mind. And I'll be honest, for a long time when I was drawing side views of eyes, I would have the black part here, which I think is the iris, touching the edge. So cool stuff. And then here, more on the eye, different angles of the eye, how the eyelid goes over. This is the typical shape of an eye right here. You can see this in How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way as well. Creating a nose, very George Bridgman right here. Nothing wrong with that. Lips, of course. And then this is great. Nice little tip here. Think of the face. The face is built on a ball, but you can also think of it kind of like a can. The front of the face curves around like a can. I mean, that's pretty simplistic. There's definitely more to it than that, but these are just kind of like tips and tricks. Getting into the ear, he does a great job there with it. This is kind of George Bridgman here. And then changing features on the face by moving the proportion lines and stuff. Remember, if you read How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, or even that great book, Drawing Dynamic Comics by, who did that book? Oh, wait, I did. That's right. Came out in the year 2000. Heads, the basic head is broken down a specific way, but obviously everybody's head is different. And to change it, you change where the proportion lines go, the cross-section lines. So, and then he's kind of showing it here as well. And then, of course, a nice little example of different shaped heads and stuff, which is good. If you're designing characters, it's good to do stuff like this. So then you keep your characters consistent. That almost looks like a cross between John Byrne and Walt Simonson. Vicious anatomy. Yeah, Greg is great at it. Look at these veins. Love it. Back when Greg had hair, that's how long ago this stuff was. Breaking down an arm. Chunking it up even more. And then even more. Venation, he calls it striation, is the cuts in the muscle, and then venation is throwing veins in over top. This is right out of George Bridgman, but it's 100% right on the money, and I'm sure Greg would tell you, yeah, that's where he got it. Shadows and lighting, very cool. So keep this stuff in mind. More great stuff. I love this here. It's like a volcano. And then the head goes on top. And then look at that. Look at that neck. So, and this is comic books, guys. Some of this stuff might not be accurate when it comes to real life, but who cares? It's comics. Love this stuff right here. The dark side. Now he's going to talk about lighting. Greg is great at lighting. His Batman work, I loved. I love seeing how he breaks down the anatomy here. Once again, very, very George Bridgman. If you don't know who George Bridgman is, I plan on doing a book look through George Bridgman's complete guide to drawing from life. It is a almost 400-page book. Or no, it's about 300 and change because I have it in front of me. It's going to take a while to go through, but I think it'll be very instructive for you guys. Sorry about the reproductions here, but more lighting and stuff. Don't do... let's see why he says, let's see if I can see why he says don't and do right there. One quick note I'd like to make concerning rendering. A lot of guys show me pencil drawings with all these rubbed shadow techniques. Oh, yeah. So it's hard to see because of the copy, but basically on the don't, this is penciled, side of the pencil. It's not really something that you would consider inkable. It's almost like the way Gene Colan penciled, the great Gene Colan, look him up. Gene's pencils were very side of the pencil rendering and stuff. And there's a lot of interpretation going on. Gene was a fantastic artist. If you don't know who he is, like I said, definitely look him up. But all Greg's showing you here is the right way, which is tight pencils where you do rendering out of the blacks and stuff. Still needs a good inker to do that. A side note, too, is Greg owns all this. So, well, as far as I know, Greg owns all this. So, Greg, if you see this video, dude, put this out like a book. You don't even have to add anything to it. Just put it out the way it is. Nice binding, maybe a new cover. And you'd sell a ton of them, dude. I'd buy it just because these reproductions aren't that great. Women aren't men in drag. Uh-oh. Whoa, Greg, what are you talking about? Man, come on now. Look at that. I've seen women, men, that look like that. Proportion, very nice. And he's talking about drawing women. Do's and don'ts. And things like that. Don't. I mean, come on, that's power, girl. You can do that. Depends on the woman. Showing the difference in hands. Rounder, stuff like that. And then just quick tutorial on arches and flow of the figure and such. Perspective. So good to go over some perspective here. You should have perspective in life. So a quick tutorial on perspective. Like I said, this is great. This is not for beginners. This whole thing, I should say, not just this section. It's not for beginners, but if you're, let's say you're learning to draw from life and really great anatomy books that are all realistic, but you're going, I want to put more cartooniness into my work. This would be good. This would be good. Love this panel here. Up with the establishment. So here he's talking about establishing shots, important of long shots, establishing shots for drawing and such, different ways to do them. Specific exterior shots, showing different ways. And then, of course, interior establishing shots as well. Very important to set up the interior scenes. Sewers are stinky, but fun. So just, once again, I love these because Greg is great at doing these tall vertical panels and getting a lot of information into them. And so is Todd. I'm curious where Todd's part, because it says Greg Capullo and Todd McFarlane. So, you have found eye level line. Yeah, I'm not sure what this was. And like I said, these were each published in a issue of Wizard. So, this is from another one. Drawing out the monster within. Now, remember, Greg was doing Spawn at the time. And, he was doing a lot of monsters and hell demons and such in Spawn. So, and he was doing them great. So, it's cool just reading through what his ideas on creating creatures and stuff are. I mean, this is great. Zombie here. Even a wicked little nasty monster child. But the cool thing about this is you can see, everything starts with basics. Look how basic that is. And then you add some more detail and then more detail. It's like sculpting. You start with the basic shape, the basic clay, and then you dig into it more and more. Powerful pages fast. I should reread this because I am so slow. This is really good, talking about different shots and stuff, extreme close-up. One thing is for sure, you'll have begun creating a more powerful page. So just going through here, he kind of explains different elements and stuff. And, before Greg got on Spawn, he was fantastic. I mean, I followed Greg's work since Quasar. Of course, I took over Quasar after Greg left. And then he did X-Force, where he really ramped it up. And then when he got on Spawn, you could tell, he was really influenced by Todd and the stuff Todd would do. Talking about framing things, framing the scene. Who turned out the lights? So, framing with silhouettes and black shapes in the foreground. And of course, this is a full silhouette, but this is also a silhouette. But breaking it with some of these little whites here and there, lines, gives it depth. I should reread this because it's funny. When I got the request to do this, I was thinking, oh man, that'd be cool. But now I got to find it because I knew I had this somewhere spiral bound. And luckily, my studio looks like a mess if you've seen me on camera and stuff, but it's an organized mess. So I was able to find it. Powerful Pages Fast Part 2. So another issue of Wizard Magazine. Number 54, it looks like. So if you want to track these down, you can backtrack from 54 if you really want the originals. I love the cartoony here. I think Danny Mickey was doing the inking at the time. Just great stuff. So this is really breaking down just storytelling process, page layouts, things like that. 3D made easy, talking about breaking panel borders here, gives it definitely a three-dimensional feel. Controlling your emotions, this is cool. Oh, look at that, he drew himself like Spock. Once again, great cartooning here. This stuff really reminds me a lot of Aaron Lopresti when he does cartoony stuff. Aaron probably would have kicked ass on Spawn as well. Danny Mickey inking. And just talking about expressions and stuff. And this still applies even if you draw more realistic. All this stuff still applies, but showing the exaggeration really helps. Hands. Hands are so important. When I'm drawing somebody talking, I try to get their hands doing something. Not everybody talks with their hands, but it helps in comics to show expression as well. Oops, don't want to miss a page. And then quick, just quick body language with very basic bodies. Storytelling and pacing. Oh yeah, pacing, something Will Eisner taught so well in his book, Sequential Art and Storytelling. One of the first books on the subject and one of the best books out there still. So this is nice. Try to imagine this is a little slower because it's like, hey, what? Wham, pulls out the gun. Take this panel out. Ugh, try and do it. Take that panel out, and then it's real fast from here to here. You know, in fact, if you take this panel out, you could put speed lines on this gun to really show how fast the action was. I mean, that's just great. Nice transition here. You've got a fan, you pull in tighter on the fan, and then you pull the camera out. Now it's a plane flying. You see stuff like that in movies and comics. It's very cool. Storytelling and pacing part 2. Part 2. Oh, well, that's a little... Grandma was not reaching for a cookie. Shock value. And then slow it down. So this is great. That was 3 panels where it went really fast. This slows it down. Yeah, I want a cookie. Ooh, the lid. Oh, it's going to taste so good. Oh, let me grab it. Oh, yeah. Pulling out. What the? Huh? Boom. Look at that. Whole page. Slows everything down. And then here's another couple ways to do it as well. So, I mean, he kind of deserved it. He's wearing a shirt that says Capullo sucks. Not cool. And then the killer revealed. Oh. Once again, great cartooning there. And that is it. That is the amount of stuff I believe Greg did for his role in drawing. I don't know how many issues that took. Maybe 5 or 6. So once again, not an official book look, but something very cool. So guys, there you have it. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and share. And of course, go sign up for Lilith Infernal Conflict, the next project from Astonishing Comics. That's me, Dennis Turner, and I, the guys that gave you the great core draft barbarian badassery. Take a little turn into the world of Lilith for the next book. You're going to like it. Sign up so you know when it goes live. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye, everybody. A PDF link in the description below.